was taking what the kids were putting and writing it on the board. But I guess the question becomes, like, what are these things? So here's bags, and here's 2 left over. And I like the fact that he was writing that kind of like an outlined circle that you could actually see. And another interesting thing was one boy said you can use negative numbers to subtract. And instead of just ignoring it, he actually addressed that. I'm not sure if, I know you didn't have time to get in, but he didn't just dismiss it and say, you can't subtract 3 from 2. He said, well, that means there's 1, we would need 1 more. And so, but I guess the question is like, what are these things that we have up here? And so he circled these numbers, but I guess I'm just want to read back a couple of the journals that kids wrote. So this student, I think it was Juan, I'm not sure, in the back, he wrote, I felt a little confused during my idea, parentheses, fractions, because I learned I didn't know how to divide fractions. I wasn't observing him, so I'm not sure what he was thinking. But I'm just wondering if he was thinking that can the remainder continue to be divided? Then another student wrote, okay, the lesson was kind of bad because I left tripped.
Who said that? Where was that? Taylor? That was the threes.
Some people, because some people thought they have to make the 2 into the 3. But you have to leave so the answer is 4. I also think it's easy if you left the 2 alone. So I think a lot of kids were wondering, what do you do with this 2? What can we do with it? And you mentioned, what does it mean? It actually means 2/3 of a bag. So in this case, since they use quantitative division, and quantitative division is related to ratio, so you have 14 lollipops. And you're dividing it by, you're putting 3 lollipops in a bag. So these are also lollipops. And then the answer is 4, which is telling you the number of bags. And that 4, they derived it from 12 divided by 3, because those are the amount they were able to. Then you have this 2 that's left. But actually, that is not 2, it's 2 divided by 3. So the picture of this 2 left over at the end, then what do we do? What do we do with those 2? And I think some of the kids were wondering about what actually is the answer to 14 divided by 3. So I want to read a couple more journal entries. So Aminata, okay, this is what she wrote. She said, I learned that sometimes in math, not everything is possible. So then the question is, what is not possible in this case? So in her mind, you cannot divide 14 by 3. You can divide 12 by 3, and you can divide 15 by 3, but 14 divided by 3 is not possible. Now, I want to leave a couple minutes for Makoto, because I have a question, and maybe someone else here can answer. So I know the Japanese textbook is using quotative division, but if you use partitive division, then whether you divide the remainder of not or not doesn't really matter, but you can see that you can continue to divide it, because 14 divided by 3 in this case, it was 12 divided by 3 plus 2 divided by 3. Only the 2 we didn't divide by 3. So we just left the 2 alone, remainder of 2. And in the lesson plan, you guys wrote, we're not going to write 14 divided by 3 equals
4R2.
4 remainder of 2 like this. I understand the rationale for not writing that equation. If you read the rationale in the book, because if you just wrote this side, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't be able to really come up with what this is. So, I'm wondering if it's unnatural for the kids. They're thinking it's not fair, it's uneven, it's not, what can we do? And so I think that I don't think that the students, I thought that the students were facing the confusion very well, but I'm not sure if they overcame the confusion in some ways. And so Morgan, for example, I was watching her, and she really wasn't able to come up with any sort of Bible strategy, although she was able to log in